Welcome to part 4 of the tiny house caravan build. So if you guys have missed out, definitely go check out the other videos, but we got a Coronet caravan and this thing was so far gone we ended up tearing off the external cladding, and now we've added on new metallic charcoal cladding and this thing looks amazing. So today we finish up the doorway and step, add some exterior lights and cut in some windows, so let's get to it. Is get this box with this step fitted. Now I've got that located in place. We're going to give it a quick scuff up and give it a coat of black tread paint. This can was really strange. I actually got it for free and you've got to hold it upside down to spray it. I suppose that's just for spraying on steps and things. But anyway, this stuff went on really well and it definitely added a really good texture. Just using plenty of that Sourdough glue we've used on the entire van build and then installing some sealed rivets all the way around. Also added this little piece of checker trim at the bottom of the door, and yes, I definitely will be painting the rivet heads. Using Bostik mastic to seal the door in place. This stuff doesn't harden, so you can always remove the door later on. So the door's all fitted up, looks really good. I've actually caulked around the edges too, just to make sure it's definitely not going to leak. But it's looking really good, and I have also sealed along the edge and up the side slightly where the where the step box is, just to make sure we don't get any moisture or anything gathering. But it's in. Alrighty, it's lighting time. So we've got the rear lamps here. They're rear facing as well. We've got the actual top front ones, white ones, and we've got red and amber. So we're starting with those. We're going to put 4 down each side. I honestly wasn't sure about the size of these things. I felt like they were just way too big, but I did actually get them like 12 months ago, so I ended up using them in the end. Alright, so let's head into the interior. I can't express my excitement enough, so welcome to the van. Turn the light on like you normally would. That's the normal setup, isn't it? How cool is it looking at this? Now it's going to be a bit echoey in here. I don't know if I can reduce that down a little bit, but let's start wiring some lights up. So basically, we're just going to do the clearance lights all the way down. I'm going to bring the main trailer core cable through the floor here somewhere. I opted to use Sparky's grey conduit. That allowed for a bigger inner diameter hole over using grommets. These little S-bend sections were quite difficult to do, but I'm glad I put them in. Now we're feeding through the 4mm brown and black wires, and I'm putting heat shrink everywhere there's a light. That conduit definitely made it easier to feed those wires through. Alrighty, so we've got all wired back to this corner here. I've got the loom taped up just to keep it sort of roughly in place so I can work the length. Once all the wires are run, I'm going to tape them all together and then we'll split tube them all before the insulation and stuff goes on. Or taped up the little bit of excess because it's nothing like pulling this through and the person who's wired it hasn't left yet enough length, so I like to leave plenty of length there. Let's see if they work. I decided to leave it here for now for the wiring because I need to get this thing outside so I can actually get underneath and finish it all. And we still have 2 things to do before it can go outside permanently. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Time to permanently seal the roof. This was my first attempt. We're going to get it back up and redo it. I really didn't want to do this job. This is the opposite side. I just let squeeze out and cleaned up. So I'm just using this wax and grease remover, doing 2 passes. One wet and then one to follow up, getting rid of it. Hopefully this is the right stuff. I don't know. I've used it throughout the whole entire build, so it's a bit late now. But with any job, the sealer started to look really good by the end of it. At the start, I sort of went back over it a little bit, touched a few things up, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, I was really putting off this job because it's just so tedious going along every joint and making sure it's all sealed up. But I thought this adds a little bit of a extra protection to the roof, just in case things were to move a little bit. And, you know, I don't want to find water leaks later on down the track. Finally, the day where we're going to cut huge holes in the side of our van, and we can't really go back from here, so we're going to put a 900 by 900 window over here and a 450 by 500 window here. Righty, let's test fit the window. Oh yeah, that's nice. Love the black, looks really good. Originally I set the van out for Eurovision windows. They're a really good window, but they just worked out to be out of my price range. So I went with the Ranger Caravan Windows. These things are really nice. So here I'm having to shorten up these little windows a little bit. Unfortunately, this is just what I had to do. So we've got the window surround all cleaned up. This is the first one to go in, and we've just applied all the sealer to that window. So we'll put it in. I do have to put 2 little spaces underneath here so we can shim up the window and make it level around. Okay, so they come with these little brackets. You just put that one on there like that. They do say you don't meant to have an angle, but I did contact them and they didn't really say much about it. So this is just how it is, because our walls are tiny bit thicker than most standard vans. I had to be very gentle tightening these up as they're anchored into plastic. Check this massive window out. Man, I cannot wait to open this thing up once that glue's dried. So I just done a light test all the way around the edges and got this little toothpick and just went in the corners to make sure that nothing, or even in here actually is a good idea, so make sure there's no gaps in there, because the windows were a little bit sort of bent, the frames, just from storage. So it looks really good. I can't wait to take this protective film off and actually be able to use them. Also got these 2 sides done. Oh, how good. Look at our first hole in the caravan floor. So inside I've blocked off our main vent down the bottom. You can see this is why. So we're going to test for leaks today. So you're going to use a smoke machine. I figured that would be better than going around with soapy water spraying every joint. So you can see, yep, cut the hole through. We'll plug this thing in, let it warm up. And also, you guys haven't seen, but a little bit of an update on the outside. I have peeled all this sealer off the edges, so it looks so much better. Everything's finalised except for the checker plate side, so I've got to deal with all that at some point. I'm really dreading doing this, so if you're doing the same thing, do it while it's wet. So just letting that warm up, we'll just filter up with some Rave Heavy Fog. Who remembers this from parties back in the day? Filling up, we can't really see in there now, so I'll pressurise it a little bit with the vacuum and see how we go. Alright, so pressurising it seems to help. You can kind of see, well, not the wall kind of moving a little bit, so, which is alright. But around here, I've got a little leak on the door side. So the vent's leaking, that's alright. And around the sides in there's leaking. So it doesn't appear to be from where it's actually on. It's just these seal parts. So that's everything I can see at the moment, which is a damn good run, if you ask me. Roof looks alright. Just go a bit more pressure there. And nothing coming out of these side trims. That's a really, really good sign. Just that door. Righto, so that worked really well. We found one little leak underneath here, which I was kind of knew about, but kind of didn't as well. So it's just up under here. That little bit of sealer didn't go quite on the floor, so I'll fix that. That's fine. And basically around the door, and there's a tiny bit around the step, which I do have to reseal. That step up, so it's a little bit sort of around the corner and the edge there. But have a look at this. Someone's at a party in here, eh? Let's let that air out. Okay, so yesterday's leak test went really, really well. I'm super happy with that. So I'm going to jump underneath. I'll reseal that floor a little bit. I've actually got to use proper glue on that. I can't use polyurethane because it'll react with the floor. So that's the one little leak under here. The other leak down near the step, I can't do that until this thing goes outside, which won't be very long here. But I'm not sure I showed too much of it. So pretty much the smoke machine was inside just to create the actual smoke. And then the vacuum cleaner was down the back, pushing a little tiny bit of pressure inside. You can actually see where the larger pieces are from the wall where there's no support, which I've got to add some. You can see those slightly starting to come out a little bit. Nothing to be concerned about. It was just a slight bit of movement, and that told us that we've got enough pressure. And when you release the vacuum, it was actually... it was vacuum blower that I was using. It would actually sort of whistle and come out. So it wasn't much pressure, but it was just enough to push the smoke out. So I'm really happy we don't have any leaks around here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to seal every screw hole. Once that dries, I'll put that rubber molding around for after. So for those that don't know, this just slots in fairly simply into there. This is probably the easiest part of the whole job, and it just slides around. So it'll look nice and neat. And just like that, the moulding's on. So this is the bottom corner I'll just have to fix, but I can pop it back out. It's really easy, this stuff. But as you can see, it looks unreal. It's all the way down, which is really good. Show this, it's actually working better than I thought it would. You guys see there? A little bit. Camera's kind of maxed out, but anyway. Oh, gentle tapping on the timber. See, that's the original profile. Now it is going to be a little bit up and down. That there's where a screw is, so I can't help that one. So you can kind of see right about there, it starts to taper up. So that's the part I've hammered, and that's not. So just quickly, on the back here, I added a number plate light. Just needed one in the center of the number plate, and I've also marked the 2 center holes for the number plate on there. Super exciting moment. Today is finally the day we're gonna get this thing outside. So we'll drag it out. It's quite a mission to get this thing out. I've got those little wheels on it, but it seems to drag on everything, and I've got to get steel and stuff on the grass. So we'll get this thing pulled out. We can finally peel this plastic film off. I am so excited for that. Then we can give this thing a full bath. That needs a really good wash. Now I've left this bottom section here with the squeeze out. I'm going to do that outside. I can't really be bothered doing it in here, so I want the space in here. I've got a few things coming up. You guys will really have to stay tuned. There's a massive project coming up, a new one, and it's going to be completely different. I feel like I'm doing a lot of different stuff on the channel, but it's a lot of things that I enjoy. So the Caravan was kind of a curveball, but anyway, we won't get into that. So we'll get this thing out, take all the film off. Once I've washed it, I can put on these fly screens. So let's get to it. Righto, let's get this plastic wrap off. Super excited to see all that metallic flake out in the sun. So this is the day I'd honestly been waiting ages for. It felt like such a big accomplishment getting this thing outside, let alone pulling all this plastic sheeting off. So the roof actually went a lot easier because it had warmed up in the sun once I'd done both sides. So pulling this off, pretty damn good feeling. How good does this thing look? I've just got to peel off some more, but wow, I'm happy with the colour. I'm going to take the window ones off last once I do the roof. So to say I was stoked would be a huge understatement. I am over the moon with how this thing's turned out. It looks amazing out in the sunlight. That colour really pops. Yeah, I can't complain at all. It is time for its first wash, and I am so nervous that this thing's going to leak water. So let's get at it. What an absolute throwback. If only washing it was that easy. So I definitely think this video deserves a like and comment from you guys, and if you haven't already, definitely subscribe. Alright, so I feel so silly. Basically I filmed the whole talking about 3 times, deleted it to get the right one, and then just went to watch it back and realised that it was all filmed in time-lapse. Everything was nice and fast. Anyway, basically what we did yesterday, I'll do it the fourth time over. Yesterday, soaked it all down to get it all the dirty stuff off, like the swarf and metal shavings if there was any. Soap it all down, wet it all, pressure washed all that off, washed it all down to get all the grit and stuff off it, washed it with a microfiber mitt, so that was really good, and then gave it a last blow over and everything. So it basically got washed like 3 to 4 times. I came inside to check for any leaks. There wasn't anything but a little bit of water in the footstep area. So I did get some footage of that, but that was all in time lapse, so I won't bother. There was only a little bit of water in there, so take my word for it. It was really good, and you can probably tell I'm super, super happy. Like, I thought this thing would definitely have a leak. So if you guys are thinking about building something like this, or you're doing something similar, anyway, I keep saying it, use a smoke machine, because it's going to save you so many headaches. So that for 40, 50 bucks, I've got to lend to that one, but for 40, 50 bucks, it's definitely going to save you a lot of work. These blinds are awesome. They're even fancier than what I have in the house. I also got all 4 stabilizer legs in place, and these things are definitely a must-have. I don't even know what to call this thing. I've called it caravan, called it camper van, tiny house. Tiny house is really good because I love that idea. I'd love to just go live in it one day down the track. Tiny house living like that. As long as I had a massive shed, be awesome. But tiny house I think is where it's at, because I don't think I'm going to do this traditionally as a traditional caravan. I think it will be mostly, but it's going to have features that caravans probably don't always have, or maybe do, but high end. So I don't know yet, because it's going to take some time to fit out. Maybe we do call it a tiny house. Let me know in the comments. Alright, so unfortunately that's going to be all for this video, guys. So basically we are a little bit ahead. Pretty much in the next video we're going to do all the wiring, so we're just going to finish off the wiring. We've got to run the wires from the front to back. We have to wire all the back lights up. We have to do a few other little jobs like clearance lights and things, sorry for the glare there, but basically I did film this whole ending, and my mouth didn't line up with sound, so pretty much I'll just breeze over it. So definitely stay tuned for the next one. I'm a little bit ahead only because I've had to go get it registered, and they've basically said that the VIN number doesn't match the rego that it originally had. So technically this van doesn't exist to that, so I have to apply for an extended VIN number, and that can take a few weeks. So the next video of this build is going to take a while, but at least I can get some things done, sort out a few things like getting mud flaps on it and things like that I wanted to get done, and the reflectors, we have to do those as well. But basically I've got this thing out, I have used it. In the next video it'll be a little bit backwards a bit, but then we'll go forward sort of thing. So definitely stay tuned, there's a lot happening, and I just cannot wait to get out and use it, and hopefully we can get out and use it before the end of the year. Anyway, stay tuned for the next one. Be sure to leave a comment and like the video. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, notification bell, so you don't miss out on anything. I'll catch you in the next one.